People who don't feel your words will never follow your voice. That's the truth that can change everything you thought you knew about communication. Most people speak just to be heard, but real leaders, they speak to be remembered. The difference isn't in volume. It's not about shouting louder or sounding smarter. It's about the accuracy, clarity, power, and timing of your words. If your voice isn't valued, your ideas, no matter how brilliant, won't matter. If your words carry no weight, then your presence won't change anyone's direction. This audiobook is for you, for the person who wants to command respect without ever raising their voice. The kind of respect that moves people into action without needing applause, approval, or attention. There's no need to say big things here. You just need to say great things. You don't need to speak anymore. You need to speak better. In this chapter-by-chapter guide, you'll learn how to speak in a way that people listen to, understand, and willingly follow, whether in casual conversation, moments of stress, or high-stakes leadership. This is for those who don't just want to lead someday. It's for those who want to lead today. Because if your words don't carry the power of leadership, then what will? And this journey begins right here. Chapter 1. Silence is power. Sometimes not saying anything is the most powerful move you can make, but very few people are ever taught this. We're often trained to believe the opposite. Whether you're in an office meeting, at a family dinner, or chatting in a college group, there's always that inner pressure. Say something, anything, just so they notice me. But here's the truth. True leaders first learn to listen. Silence is an art. And the one who masters this art, that person never fades into the background. Imagine this. A man walks into a room full of noise and opinions. He doesn't rush to interrupt or impress. He sits quietly in a corner, but there's a sharp presence in his eyes. He listens deeply. He observes. He's silent, yet magnetic. It's a silence that doesn't feel weak or awkward. It feels confident. Most people open their mouths just to fill the air. But leaders? They speak when they have something worth saying. Even their silence says something. I'm listening. I'm understanding. I'm aware. In a society like ours, where the loudest often drown out the wisest, whether it's a shouting match on a news channel or half-baked advice from WhatsApp University, it's the calm, composed individual who captures real attention. Think about that one boss in your office, the one who hardly ever speaks in meetings, but when he does, everyone listens. His eyes scan everything, his ears catch more than you think, and his few words carry more weight than an hour-long speech. His silence isn't blank, it's full of thought, intention, and clarity. And because of that, people watch him. They try to understand him. They respect him. Leadership begins when you stop reacting to everything. You don't need to have an opinion about every issue. You don't need to respond to every trigger. Sometimes taking a moment to pause, to breathe, to observe, that gives you depth. It gives you an internal strength that can't be faked. While others rush to speak, to judge, to defend, you become someone different. Someone who's not just part of the crowd, but someone who quietly rises above it. Leving Janner sign. You come, everything for rest of this. No Da Vincians denotes as meeting leaders. Silence becomes strength when it comes from a place of understanding, self-control, and intentional thought. That's not just philosophy, that's history, that's culture, and that's leadership. Our country has always taught us this truth. Think about the ancient saints, yogis, and gurus. They didn't talk all the time. They stayed silent for days, sometimes years, and spoke only when it truly mattered. Even today, people revere their words because their silence held wisdom and their words carried depth. So the next time you're in a meeting, debate, or conversation, don't force yourself to speak just for the sake of speaking. First, observe, feel the energy, and then, if your words are truly needed, speak with purpose. Chapter 2. Stop talking. Start leading. There's a common belief that if we share our opinion on everything, answer every question, and keep talking, people will think we're smart. But in reality, the opposite happens. The more someone talks, the more their words lose value. A true leader is not the one who talks the most. They're the one who says the right thing at the right time, and then stands confidently behind it. Every time you speak without thinking, you're giving away a part of your power. Think about how many times you've said something, then felt a knot in your stomach afterward. That moment when you whisper to yourself, "I wish I had stayed quiet." That regret, that heaviness, is the first sign of maturity. It's your inner leader waking up. True leadership begins when you take responsibility for your words. Everything you say should be intentional. It should have direction and weight. You've probably heard this in Indian households. Children stay quiet and let the elders speak. But sometimes the wisdom of a child's silence can speak louder than all the noise of the adults. Think about college days. When one person is always cracking jokes, being loud, trying to impress the crowd, and another person just watches quietly from the side. Fast forward a few years, and that quiet observer is the one leading a company, building a team, and making waves. Why? Because they were learning while everyone else was performing. They were listening, processing, and growing, silently. And when their time came to speak, they didn't just talk. They made people stop and listen. It's easy to talk, but it's hard to create a real impact. So the next time you open your mouth to say something, ask yourself, is there an intention behind these words? Is there a reason, a message, a purpose? If you're only speaking to make yourself look better or sound smarter, people will tune out. But if you're speaking to connect, to explain, to help someone grow, then people will lean in. They'll listen. They'll remember. Today, everyone is in a rush to perform. Scroll through Instagram reels. People are trying to be the funniest, the smartest, the most dramatic. But real leadership doesn't scream. It doesn't perform. It resonates. True leaders speak from the heart. They don't speak to impress. They speak to express something meaningful. And their presence doesn't need an announcement. It makes itself known through calm, clarity, and confidence. Here's the truth. Talking too much often comes from insecurity. When someone lacks clarity or certainty inside, they try to overcompensate outside. They try to fill the silence with words. But the one who is truly grounded in their confidence doesn't need to prove themselves every minute. Their body language, eye contact, and presence, it all says, "I know who I am." So next time you're in a group discussion, a meeting, or a debate, ask yourself one simple question. Is this necessary to say? If yes, say it. But say it clearly and thoughtfully. If not, stop. Let silence say what words can't. Chapter 3. Speak less, impact more. In our society, the ability to speak is often seen as the measure of intelligence. If a young man walks into an interview and speaks fluent English, people immediately say, "Wow, he's smart." But let's pause for a second. Does talking more always equal greater impact? No, not at all. Impact doesn't come from the number of words. It comes from the truth behind them. It comes from experience and depth of thought. The people who speak less but choose the right words at the right moment, those are the ones who move hearts and lead minds. They aren't trying to fill the silence. They're focused on creating meaning. Every person has 1,000 stories to tell, but a leader is the one who first understands which story should be told, when, how, and how much. Look at many great leaders in our country. They don't jump into comment on every single issue. You don't see them shouting in every debate or reacting to every headline. But when they do speak, people stop and listen. Their words don't echo like a noisy argument. They land with wisdom. In a world of fast reels, quick stories, and non-stop updates, we remember those who slow us down, who speak with pause, with presence, and with purpose. Making a big impact with few words is a skill. It takes time, it takes awareness, but once developed, it can transform you from a follower into a leader, from just a communicator into someone who influences hearts. So, next time you feel like saying something, pause. Ask yourself, am I speaking just to fill the silence, or can these words change something? Because the day you start sharpening your words like a tool, like a weapon of leadership, that's the day you begin to truly influence people. Chapter 4. Own the room with your words. Have you ever seen someone enter a room and, without even saying much, change the entire vibe? There's something magnetic about them. The way they walk, the quiet confidence in their posture. And then, when they finally speak, it feels like electricity is running through every word. You can feel the power. You can sense the energy. Their presence speaks even before their voice does. This kind of impact doesn't come from memorizing speeches or copying someone's style. It comes from owning your words. What does that mean? It means taking responsibility for everything you say. It means understanding the weight of your words, whether you're addressing a crowd, having a one-on-one conversation, or just posting a comment online. Think of it this way. When a person owns their words, they aren't trying to impress. They're trying to express something real. There's no mask, no act, just conviction. Let's bring it into a real-world example. Imagine a young woman giving a college presentation. She doesn't have the loudest voice or the flashiest slides, but her message is clear, her tone is calm, and she believes in what she's saying. And you notice, people are hooked. Not because she's dramatic, but because she's authentic. She's in control. She owns every sentence. Now compare that to someone who's memorized a fancy script but fumbles when asked a real question. You can see the difference immediately. People connect with truth, not perfection. Owning the room isn't about dominating it. It's about standing in your power, not above others, but with clarity, confidence, and connection. So the next time you speak as if your words are carving a path, not just passing time. Speak with purpose. Speak with presence, and you won't just be heard, you'll be remembered. But here's the catch. Many times we speak, but we speak with fear. What if people judge me? What if I say something wrong? Is my English okay? When you're asking yourself these questions in your head, that fear reflects in your voice. It shows up in your body language, and without you realizing it, your words lose power. But a leader doesn't speak with hesitation. A leader is not timid or apologetic about their words. When they speak with conviction, because they know what they're saying and they stand behind it. Whether it's a corporate meeting, a group discussion, or a classroom presentation, if your voice trembles, if you appear unsure, people naturally stop listening. But if you speak even simple words with clarity, confidence, and common sense, people will automatically tune in. They'll feel a connection. And remember, this confidence doesn't come from perfect English. It comes from knowing yourself. Picture this. A boy from a small town, a Tier 2 city. His English isn't polished. He stumbles over a few words. But when he speaks, you can feel the truth, the intention, and the authenticity in his voice. He knows what he's saying, and it resonates. Now, imagine someone else in the same room. They speak polished, textbook MBA English, but their words are empty. All show no substance. Who do you think people will remember? In a society like ours, where people are judged by language, accent, and background, when you speak with honesty, clarity, and confidence, you rise above the system. You create your own space. Your words become your identity, and people don't just listen, they trust you. Always remember, before you say something, ask yourself, do I completely stand behind this? If the answer is yes, then speak. Speak without fear. Speak without shame. It doesn't matter if the person in front of you is your senior, your manager, or someone with more power, because when you own your words, you automatically begin to own the energy of the room. Owning the room isn't about dominating others. It's about leading with authenticity. And people are naturally drawn to that, because everyone wants to follow someone real. Chapter 5. Don't beg to be heard. Have you ever noticed how sometimes in conversations or meetings we say too much? Not because we have so much to share, but because we just want to be noticed. We repeat our points, over-explain ourselves, and keep justifying things, hoping that finally someone will take us seriously. Let me say that again. What I meant to say was, but here's the truth. A real leader never begs to be heard. They speak. And if others don't listen, they go silent. They don't waste energy convincing people who aren't ready. They simply shift their focus to where their voice will be valued. Today's youth in India is caught in a whirlwind of validation seeking. Whether it's likes and comments on Instagram or recognition in the office, everyone wants to feel heard. And that desire often turns into desperation. But leadership doesn't work that way. Respect isn't demanded. It's earned. And how do you earn that respect? By speaking with so much confidence, clarity, and calm that you no longer care whether someone agrees with you or not. Your sense of worth isn't tied to their response. Yes, there will be moments when you speak and no one reacts. Or you're interrupted. Or your point is ignored. It happens. But a true leader doesn't let that shake their inner voice. They know that being heard isn't the goal every time. Being authentic is. Being aligned with your truth is. And that's what people eventually remember. When a real leader speaks, his words shouldn't just land quietly. They should lift off the ground and create waves in the air. Even if what he says comes a little late, it should make people pause and think. Now think about this in the context of relationships. You've probably experienced it. You explain your feelings again and again to someone, and they keep ignoring you. Eventually, your voice starts to feel like a burden. You begin to doubt yourself. That's not just painful, it's exhausting. But an emotionally mature person knows when to stop explaining. They understand that change speaks louder than repeated words. And this idea applies just as much in leadership as it does in love. You should speak your truth, not out of desperation, not to convince, but with dignity and respect. Say it once, but say it with full strength and calmness. And if the other person still doesn't listen, that's their loss, not yours. When you keep trying to prove your point over and over, you don't just waste energy. You begin to devalue your voice. But when you pause, speak clearly, and then become silent, people start to reflect. They wonder, what was it about that one sentence that stayed with me? There's a saying in Indian culture, only the one who eats the jaggery of a quiet person knows its real sweetness. In other words, not every sweet word needs to be spoken. Some things leave a deeper impact when left partly unsaid. So, the next time you catch yourself trying too hard to impress someone with your words, ask yourself, am I speaking the truth? Or am I just begging for approval? Because leaders don't beg. Leaders speak from truth, not from need. Be a leader, not someone who pleads to be understood. What scares you, frees you. Here's something powerful. The thing that scares you the most is the thing that holds the most power inside you. Every single one of us has something we desperately want to say, but we hold back. Will people judge me? Will my boss get angry? Will my parents ever accept my dream? Behind all those questions is a quiet but powerful word: fear. Fear of being rejected. Fear of shame. Fear of breaking relationships or expectations. But this is where leadership is born, not in comfort, but in confronting fear. The journey to becoming a real leader starts when you begin speaking about what scares you. Because of that fear, we were told that silence is maturity, and that's true until that silence starts to break you. If something is eating you from the inside, if you're carrying a storm within but smiling for the world every day, then that silence isn't wisdom, it's emotional exhaustion. It's a lie that chips away at your soul. A true leader speaks despite fear. He doesn't ask, what will people think? He asks, if I stay silent today, will I regret it tomorrow? And that question, that one moment of courage, changes everything. Think about it. When your friend once stood up and spoke the truth in front of a crowd, When a girl in a conservative home spoke up for her career, when a boy, tired of being insulted, stood up to his abusive boss and said, "Enough." What happened? Everything changed. There was fear, yes, but that fear, once expressed, turned into leadership. Because leadership isn't about being fearless. It's about moving forward despite the fear. And this is where so many young people in India struggle. The problem isn't that they have nothing to say. The real problem is they have so much to say, but not enough courage to say it. But when do they? When do you? That's when your voice is born. And that's the moment people stop seeing you as just another person and start seeing you as a leader. And this courage begins the day you finally say the thing you've been avoiding until now. Sometimes it's just a simple sentence. I don't like it. I don't want to do this. This scares me. I dream about something different. But these simple words can carry a force so strong they can change the entire direction of your life. That's what true leadership is. Not about being loud or fearless, but about molding your fear into your voice, about choosing truth over comfort. So today, make a promise to yourself. Speak what scares you, because the very first step toward becoming a real leader is not shouting louder. It's saying the thing that matters, even if your voice shakes. It's putting forth your point despite fear, not in the absence of it. Chapter 7. Make people listen without forcing. Everyone in life wants to be heard. Whether it's a friend, a parent, a partner, or a boss, we all want our words to be taken seriously. We want respect. We want understanding. But often, the more we try to push our point, the more the other person resists. The more we repeat ourselves, the more we feel ignored. Why does this happen? Because while we're talking, we're not creating impact. And impact only happens when you speak with truth, with clarity, and most importantly, with pause. Not by shouting, not by explaining over and over, not by losing control. A leader never creates pressure. A leader creates presence. He builds an atmosphere where people want to listen, not feel forced. Imagine this. You say something important to someone. You speak with honesty and without hesitation. And then you become quiet. That silence? It carries more weight than all the noise in the world. The person in front of you starts wondering, why isn't he saying more? Why is he so confident? Why isn't he desperate to explain? That's the beginning of influence. That pause, that grounded silence. It shows you are not trying to win an argument. You are leading through self-respect. In Indian culture especially, where group discussions often turn into verbal battles, people believe that shouting equals strength. But in reality, the one who screams the loudest often reveals their deepest insecurity. A real leader doesn't speak to overpower, he speaks to inspire. His words have magnetism, not because they're loud, but because they're rooted in clarity. You don't need to impress people with volume, you need to move them with truth. Inspiration never comes from noise. It comes from authenticity, from the calm fire in your eyes, not the speed of your sentences. Now, how do you reach this level of calm power? Practice. Practice silence. Practice stillness. Practice clarity. The next time you're in the middle of an argument, a relationship issue, an office debate, or a tense family moment, and you feel that the other person isn't truly listening, stop. Don't escalate. Don't beg to be heard. Instead, go quiet, not out of fear, but out of strength. Let your silence say, I've spoken my truth. It's your turn now. That quiet confidence, that absence of desperation, turns you from someone people overlook into someone they remember. From just another voice in the noise to a leader who doesn't force attention, but naturally commands it. Chapter 8. Drop the nice guy voice. Now let's talk about the voice that deceives the most, the nice guy voice. You've probably heard it. Maybe you've even used it. It's that overly soft tone we slip into when we're trying not to hurt anyone. when we're trying to keep everyone happy, when we're terrified of being misunderstood. It's the kind of voice that says, "Sorry if that upset you," or "Please don't take it the wrong way." From the outside, it sounds polite, but from the inside, it reveals something else: insecurity. This is the voice that sounds like you're apologizing for your existence. And no matter how kind it may seem, it makes your words weak. Worse, it slowly erases your identity. Because when your tone screams, "Please like me," no one hears the truth you're trying to speak. A real leader doesn't use his voice to please. He uses it to speak the truth, even if that truth upsets some people. Because the goal of leadership is not to be liked, is to be respected. You don't earn respect by sugarcoating your truth. You earn it by saying what needs to be said, even when it's uncomfortable, without decoration, without fear. In India especially, boys from middle-class families are raised on certain lessons. Don't raise your voice. Don't upset anyone. Speak sweetly to everyone. And what happens? That habit follows them into adulthood, and their voices become so nice, so soft, so well-behaved that all strength is lost. But if you want to be seen as a force, and not just someone nice, then you have to make a decision. You must drop the nice guy voice. This doesn't mean you become rude or arrogant, not at all. It means you speak with clarity, with truth, and with strength, even if the other person gets uncomfortable. Because your goal isn't to soothe everyone. It's to lead with honesty. Just think about it. People often criticize those who speak blunt truths, but they remember them. On the other hand, those who spend all their energy trying to keep everyone happy, their words vanish, forgotten. A voice with no edge creates no memory. So now is the time to evolve your voice. Stand in front of the mirror and practice. Practice expressing your thoughts in a calm, steady, and firm tone, without apologizing for it. Over time, you'll start to feel it yourself. The hesitation will fade, and the power that was always inside you will finally come through. Because a real leader doesn't just offer comfort, a real leader offers clarity. And clarity never comes without firmness. Chapter 9. Talk like you deserve to be here. Many times we walk into rooms that feel too big for us. An interview, a boardroom, a formal gathering, or even a conversation with someone who seems more educated, more successful, or more powerful than us. In those moments, we shrink. Our voice lowers, our words stumble, and deep inside we start to question ourselves. Do I belong here? Am I good enough? But here's the truth. If your words carry hesitation, if your tone says, "I'm just here temporarily," if your presence whispers, "I'm not sure I deserve this," then people will treat you accordingly. People mirror the energy you bring. When your body language says, "I'm small," the world doesn't argue. It agrees. When a true leader speaks, you don't hear, "Sorry, I might be wrong." You hear, "I'm here, and my presence matters." That's not ego. That's inner dignity. Even today, in our India, many youth are left behind. Not because they lack talent or effort, but because they have silenced their inner voice. Somewhere along the way, they convinced themselves that their background was too small, that their English wasn't good enough, that they didn't come from a big college, that they had nothing impressive to show. But here's the truth. You don't need a degree to be heard. You don't need a fancy resume to stand on a stage, speak to powerful people, or express your truth in a relationship. What you really need is self-respect. That unshakable belief that no matter what street, village, or family when you carry this belief, something changes in your voice. The rush disappears. The desperation to explain yourself fades. You begin to speak with calm fire. Few words, but every sentence leaves a mark. Your face might be ordinary, your clothes might be simple, but when your words are backed by real self-confidence, the person in front of you doesn't see your background. They see your presence. They think, "This person is meant to be here." Chapter 10. Make silence your power. It's not necessary to talk all the time. Real power is seen when you can say a lot, without even speaking. A true leader understands this. He knows that silence can hold more authority than words. When you are silent, yet fully present, your eyes, your posture, and your energy do the talking. Just imagine this. Someone is yelling at you, trying to provoke you, trying to pull you into chaos. But you stand still. You look directly into their eyes. No fear, no apology, no anger, just calm silence. That kind of silence can stop even the loudest noise. It disarms the other person completely, because your silence hits deeper than their shouting. Today, everyone is busy talking, on social media, in relationships, in everyday conversations. But the ones who observe, who listen, who pause before they speak, they are the ones who are truly heard. You don't have to react to everything. You don't have to respond to every insult, every doubt, every challenge. Learn to stay silent. Watch, understand, and when you do speak, make sure time itself wants to stop and listen. Look at the great leaders of our country. Mahatma Gandhi rarely raised his voice. He wasn't loud, but when he spoke, the entire nation stood still. Why? Because he thought deeply before every word. He spoke from a place of soul, not ego. And even in silence, he was powerful. You can do the same. When someone insults you, stay silent. When someone tries to provoke you, be still. When someone tries to make you feel small, smile. But don't argue, don't defend. Let your silence speak for you. Because sometimes silence is the loudest proof of your presence. If there is fire in your heart, then your voice has the power to light the path for others. But if you stay silent, still bound by fear, still worried about what people will think, then the same people will one day mistake your silence for weakness. Not everyone in life gets a listener. So whenever you do get a platform, whether it's big or small, formal or casual, speak. Speak for yourself. Speak for others who don't yet have a voice. Speak for a tomorrow that could be changed just by the strength of your words. Today, you've learned what it means to speak with clarity, to speak with truth, to speak in a way that people don't just hear, but feel. Now it's time to take that knowledge and live it. Go out there and let your voice be more than just sound. Let it be a source of light for others too. And if there's still something left in your heart, don't worry. We'll meet again in the next story. We'll dive into the power of the mind and the art of staying focused on your goal, even when the world tries to distract you. Let's move forward. Because you are no longer who you were at the beginning of this journey. Now you don't change your words to fit in. You own them. You lead with them. And the world,